What is up, everybody? It's me, John.
And me, Mark.
And also me, Karn the Betrayer.
Got some good stuff to talk about today. What have y'all been up to this week in terms of your hobbying?
Well, for me and Mark both, we spent last week, I know we were not here for the cast, but we were down at Crucible.
Yep.
And
how
we
was
did
that?
a lot of, it was great. For any of those who don't know, Crucible is a 3-day gaming event down in Florida. And it spans through all the popular tabletop systems. So Age of Sigmar, 40K, Infinity, War Machine, and Hordes.
They do Kings of War as well.
Kings of War, yeah. There's actually a lot of local players down at the Kings of War, and they
Kings of War Lando. Is
yeah.
What they...
Plus historicals and painting and all that. So me and Mark had a lot of fun. We spent a whole day hobbying together, which was a blast. I was trying to get stuff painted for the tournaments I was playing in, and Mark was getting his Monpok together so they could be nice and fully painted. But overall, it was a great event. It is one of the gaming events that's solely dedicated to gaming, and it's nice and relaxed, so you don't feel like you're like rushed or you have to wait in line.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just for you and your hobby, whether it's playing the games or painting them or even D&D.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did a lot of D&D and Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's close here. It's like a 6.5-hour drive straight through, and it's in Orlando, right next to the park. So if you guys get a chance to check it out, I definitely recommend it. And we always have several people going, so it's pretty easy to like coordinate carpools or rooms together. So
nice. And then did you guys play in the tournament?
I did. Mark was just hobbying. Actually, sorry. Excuse me. Mark actually stepped in and helped judge for the weekend.
Nice.
He was a TO. You kind of knew about that going in, but Mark really kind of stepped up, and I know the head judge was very appreciative of all the paperwork and stuff like that Mark filed all weekend. So good vacation, right?
It's relaxing.
Yeah. But I played. I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but I still won best in Minions.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was both first and last place when it came to Minions, since I was the only person playing Minions there.
Which is kind of
yeah.
They're a good faction.
No, they are a good faction. They're significantly better than they've been in the past. It's just there just wasn't representation. There's a lot of other like cool new releases that came out that attracted a lot of the players to different armies.
I do find it funny that Crucible Guard, the newest faction, because their stuff wasn't legal yet, which makes sense because they're a very potent faction.
Right.
But when you walk into a tournament handicapping yourself, people are like, nah, I'm not about that.
And I feel like that's the same thing with Minions. The fact that like they're still like only the blind water half has been updated in the last year or so. So it's kind of like a almost half done faction, but I mean, I personally find it 100% playable because I only want to play the Gator half anyways. But it was a really enjoyable con. Jared Fisher's in chat. He was the head judge there. He did a really amazing job, especially keeping like. We will have to have Fish on for a podcast at some point with Gigabytes over the herding cats that is running a tournament. If you think about it, like, tournaments are on a lot of people's off times. It's their vacation. So they don't really adhere to schedules or necessarily care about time as much as some of the other people that are there. So making sure that everyone feels welcome and not hampering anyone else's good time is really important. So Fish runs a tight ship. Navy joke.
Thomas says, "Good morning, boys," with a Z. Sounds very orky.
No, we are still technically in October, but we don't know what that means. Thanks, Games Workshop, for the confusion.
I think they definitely should have done it in both Age of Sigmar and 40K, but it seems like they've only really focused on the 40K side.
We can kind of segue into that since we're moving through the Crucible. Is it truly October when we are only technically getting one release of Orcs before the end of the month?
They're pretty cool, the vehicles, I guess.
No, Speed Freaks is an amazing looking box set. This has Orcs have always tempted me, and I've always wanted to try them, mainly because the fact that they are so moddable. Like I've seen so many amazing conversions and like customizations on Orc stuff.
I've seen their Byron in the choppers. They extended the first wheel out.
I've
Yeah,
seen an
and so-
A10 Warthog that was orc converted.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My favorite conversion of all time was Orcimus Prime, which was an orc truck that was converted to look like a semi-truck that could also transform into a dreadnought.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
it changed.
What?
Yeah.
So did they mod an actual Transformers model to do that?
No, it was made all 100% from Games Workshop bits.
Wow.
And a little bit of plastic art,
Yeah,
mind
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But so the original, and it was designed after the original Optimus Prime model,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so like the transformation wasn't super difficult, and it's like if you have a little bit of like engineering expertise, like I mean a little bit, you can easily make something like that work.
Mhm.
But it was just one of the most impressive models I've seen. And
That is so cool.
I would let people play it as a truck / dreadnought, like
Yeah.
drop off your boys and then transform into a dreadnought. How cool would that be?
Oh my gosh, what?
Just get that medium point of like a little bit of this, a little bit of make it more expensive. but
Yeah,
run it.
exactly.
So I
Like-
wonder
like-
if they considered it kind of like how Christmas is like the end of December, but like it's Christmas month. I don't know.
Yeah. In all honesty, yeah. Possibly. I think some of the issues with the marketing was expectations not really being managed.
Mhm.
So it looks like, especially as of right now, the only thing that we're getting really new for the orcs are the Speed Freaks box set and then the Cult of Speed like releases. So we're probably not seeing new orc boys. We're probably not seeing a lot of other new models besides the new trucks and buggies and bikes, the character bike, excuse me. And so that's a little bit. I know some orc players are going to be a little bit disheartened because we've been expecting a redesign of the boys or maybe a new Gazgul Thraka.
Mhm.
And if these things were coming, they should have been hinted at throughout the entire month, as opposed to like kind of recycling a lot of what we've seen before.
Yeah.
And they've just now finally got to releasing some of the rules for the box set and the.
But the
40
Codex is not coming back until next month.
Correct.
Yeah, so it looks like October is just the hype build.
Orktober, November.
Yes. So
Remember?
yeah, and it's one of those things where like they could have. I don't know. Thomas is saying the community pushed them into it, but
I don't think community cares like that. Like, just
like maybe they're like, oh hey, this is something cute that the community's doing. Like
Yeah,
let's take advantage of this.
let's run with this.
And then maybe it didn't pan out the way that they wanted.
Mhm.
And this is not to detract from the orc releases at all. Like I for one welcome new orc stuff. It's just I think I was kind of hoping for more, right? And-
Alex says Knobvember.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think November would be good.
Nice. It's a good one.
So that's when we'll get all the new knobs, right?
Yeah, right. So we have
and if
Thomas says pre-release is next week. Actually, pre-release of
Pre-release
the
tomorrow.
Speed Freaks box is going to be this weekend. Or sorry, by pre-release I mean pre-order.
Yeah.
So you pre-order the Speed Freaks box this week. It's 150. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is great for orc players or people that just want a GW themed board game.
If they don't make it in November, they can make December.
Yeah. I mean, they could continue it on, but I think we're going to see a pretty sudden shift towards the midway point in November that we normally do see from Games Workshop because they're going to be releasing their late November like Christmas box set game, and I think that's going to be the Khorne versus Slanesh game,
Ooh.
whatever that might be. So
Will it
probably
be demons?
it should be demons, especially the fact that we've seen the new Fiend already.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But we'll have to wait and see. It looks like there are certain models for Slanesh getting resculpted, so expect to see a Fiend, expect to see a new Keeper of Secrets,
Ooh.
and then probably like another character demon or like a new Herald sculpt,
Yeah.
something like that.
So if they do only demons, it'd be great. You can do 40k or just ignore
Exactly.
it.
And so that's something that they're probably aiming for,
Yeah,
where they're
exactly.
like, especially for like if they're having one Christmas like or one November box set coming out, like why not double dip? You know, get that done. So I'd expect that, especially after the first week of November, we should probably start seeing a lot more spoilers for it. But that'll kind of all trickle down as we start seeing more and more orc stuff come out. So we're seeing the buggies and tracks and new bike all in the Speed Freaks box set. We're getting a new codex. We know that there's a couple of cars that aren't in the Speed Freaks box that are coming out separately.
Okay.
And expect to see probably 1 to 2 other releases from October with that, whether it's some of the like a multi-part kit for like a truck or something like that coming out later. But we'll see what they decide to do with it. And for those guys thinking or thinking about it, that Speed Freaks box is going to be 100% of a deal. So if you have any questions about starting orcs or getting into orcs, just buy it. Just put your pre-order down. You won't be disappointed.
I was going to say, one of those vehicles is like 40 a pop, right? Typically.
Yeah. So like expect to see each one of those vehicles for 40 or 50 a pop, and you're getting, I think, 4 to 5 in there.
Yeah.
So plus other stuff, I think you're getting like bikes and things like that too in there. So
it's a great way to get started on an army too, if you like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of vehicles, but I like infantry. I was hoping for new boys.
Vehicles is really what got me in the game. The Lehman Russ tank. Yeah, the Lehman Russ is beautiful.
I think vehicles are a good selling point if you really think about it. Like, you really want to have that like centerpiece model to pull people into it. Like if you're a demons player, it's going to be your greater demons. That's going to be that like eye-catching thing, being like, that's what I want. As opposed, like most people aren't going to be looking at the rank and file troops and being like that.
Oh, yeah, it's like, I want to be Joe Schmo that's on the front lines.
Like to me, with Lizardmen, it was the Stegodon that pulled me.
Yeah.
God, those things were brutal. Yeah, and see, Fish says it was the Dreadnought that got him in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's usually those like bigger pieces, and so like obviously with orcs, we just got a couple of years ago we got the Morkanaut or the Gorkanaut, which is a great looking model. And so they probably don't want to keep doing like dreadnoughts and things like that. So what's the next kind of like centerpiece? What's the next eye catcher that they can get? The buggies and the tracks, those are the most out of date, the most new ones they can get. Personally, I like it. I would have loved to see Gazgul Thraka as almost like a Primarch level model.
Oh,
like,
that'd be great.
I think we're going to see that.
Yeah, we probably will, but maybe not with this release.
Yeah.
But at the same point, seeing Gazgul Thraka kind of maneuvers people into playing in a very specific way, like the other like Primarchs and things like that, where it homogenizes what like the army's supposed to be, where with all these different buggies you can still play them in different clans and things like that. So that's something to think about.
Do we have more of a rumor on which Primarch is next?
No, a lot of people are expecting Fulgrim with the Slaanesh release,
but I mean we had what
so it was Magnus, Gilman, then Mortarion.
Yeah, so we should be due for a non-chaos Primarch?
We should, but so, I mean, once again, this goes towards the release schedule. If we're going into a Slaanesh theme, if we're doing Slaanesh demons, there'll probably be a month break of doing something else and then doing Chaos Space Marines to Slaanesh.
Lionel Johnson, he's handsome, right?
Yeah, no. And so they've really been trying to pit Primarchs, like, give a foil to each one.
Yeah.
So, we could see Lionel Johnson be the foil to Slaanesh, Fulgrim, but it's one of those things we'll kind of wait and see. We were still kind of expecting like Russ to come back to fight with Magnus.
Because he hasn't received a. I mean, he did face off against Guilliman, but
he did, and then he got
Sisters of Silence are like,
well, and also I think he got tricked by Gilman to go into like the Eternal Maze or whatever. Whoops. And I think one of the reasons why we don't see Russ is because of the Wolf time, where like when Russ comes back, all the Space Wolves are going to be like, it's the end times, time to freak out. So it's one of those things where it's probably more likely to see Lion before Russ at this point.
Well, Russ is in the Eye of Terror, right? Fighting?
Russ is in the Warp.
Right.
He's fighting with the Lost Legion, like where the Wolfen came out from.
And I thought he ventured into Eye of Terror, which essentially leads to the Warp. I know Khan went into a webway.
Yeah, Khan went into the webway.
The webway,
I know
man.
Russ is in the Warp somewhere.
Yeah.
The Lion's sleeping kind of on the rock.
Yeah, lazy. I mean,
Chris Lyle with that whammy. I don't think they'll do the Lion since we are due for another Loyalist Primarch. But once again, that could be an interesting story where, Fulgrim and Lion come out back to back, where the story is Fulgrim's like trying to push Lion, like, hey, listen, we knew that you're kind of kind of with us.
No, all right.
Yeah.
Half the Legion turned traitor.
Right.
Was a fight where Lionel Johnson was on the loyalist side.
Correct. Now, but it would be cool to see like Fulgrim trying to push him over to the Chaos side, and Lion's like, I don't think you know me, stab.
Yeah.
You know, like it'd be.
Heard about your Legion?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna turn.
Yeah. So, expect a lot of Slaanesh stuff. I would love to see the Loyalist Primarch because I would love to see more lists than just Gilman like running around. I think a lot of people would too, but we'll see. We still have basically 2.5 months before Christmas, and a lot could happen.
Man, seems like forever away.
Yeah, I know. But real quick, things that we do know that are coming. Ricky Kia chimed in that House Delac is coming out for Necromunda, Q4. I don't really know anything about Delac.
I don't know.
Either. Other than the fact they have a cool French-like name.
Like, what is their theme, Ricky? If you care to chime in a second time.
Yeah, or if John knows.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's been a little while since I saw the leak photos.
Well, when we while we're waiting for Ricky to show up with descriptors and all that, let's talk about this week's releases that actually hit up. The big one is going to be Tilt It.
There you
go. Kill Team Commanders is dropping this Saturday. It's a new expansion to Kill Team that actually lets you run elites and HQs that you normally wouldn't find in the core rules for Kill Team. And so this is really important for people. And I want to. This has been like the number one question that we've gotten from it. Is are we just going to see HQs running around in Kill Team from now on?
Yeah.
Nope.
No, because when you guys play a game, it's not. Commanders isn't an auto include. It's something that you and your opponent have to agree upon, and especially when it comes to campaigns and things like that. Commanders may not be a part of it, or it might be something that's added on to a much later point.
Those are the filthy Xenos.
It does give you a lot of new customization and new flexibility in your army.
It's like a build your own character system.
Exactly, and that's really cool. I personally like that. I also really like it from a narrative perspective. So I think it works much better in a league situation than it would be like, a Kill Team tournament. It's
a David.
Yeah, David's in the back. He's here doing some early morning work before it gets too busy.
Yeah, so basically you have several trees similar to the current specialists. So it's effectively a commander specialist list, and you buy the points different from leveling up. So I don't think you'll ever level up your commander throughout a campaign. You'll just buy it at a certain lists and a certain point value.
Correct. Yeah, so it is very much an expansion and very much something that you have to plan for. It's not like pick up and play like Commanders unless you discuss it beforehand. And just to let you know, of all the box sets we've shown, does not include every faction that's in Kill Team. Yeah. Every faction in Kill Team does have a commander, at least one commander, if not more. I think most of them have at least 2 or more. So if you don't have a box set yet, it'll probably come out whenever your faction gets a Kill Team box set. But you have one. So if you don't have one of those box sets, just pick up the core expansion set for Commanders, and you'll have all the rules you need to get going. Yeah, generic cards to fill out. So
and get the rule book and the rule set, the expansion set, and then look at the point values of what you want to get. That way you know how much it's going to cost for when you actually buy the model. Otherwise, you might get, because like I think a commander for the Astartes is super expensive. The captain.
Oh, I bet.
It probably starts over 100 points, I think.
Yeah.
And so it'd be you and a couple other dudes, which is powerful, powerful character. But
absolutely.
Like commissars are, I think, 40 to 60 points.
Whew.
Starting off.
Cheapo.
So, yeah. And the rules aren't necessarily 100% of what they were at 40K, just like the other Kill Team units. They've added things and they have adjusted things to make them work in the Kill Team setting. So it's really exciting, and I'm glad that they keep expanding Kill Team. I know a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of this comment of, hey, 40K has just gotten too big for me. Kill Team is a perfect game because it lets me play in the universe that I love, but not necessarily have to paint an entire army or play those like 3-hour games, right?
Also, it really helps with getting that sensation of urban combat. You're not going to have vehicles running around, so you just have those tight, close quarters inside a city, where in a normal 40K game, you might have buildings like a foot apart on the table, but this is just 3 inches is the alleyway. You get the rundown, and at the end of it might be a horde of people that are ready to murder you.
Yeah, and I also think Kill Team gets the scale of 40K a little bit better.
Yeah,
just because like I feel like, especially if you're doing city combat and all that, like I don't think a lot of these cities were designed with Lehman Russes in mind, or a greater domain of Zinch, like being like, we should let that walk through our city ways,
Yeah.
And it is really kind of cool to get that more immersive experience. It's also really interesting that if you make your kill team, you make your characters and all that sort of stuff with the Wrath and Glory RPG, it's kind of like one step away from just moving into that, which I find really appealing. So if you like that system and you want to get more in depth and more into characters in a smaller scale 40K, you can just move over to Wrath and Glory. It's really neat, which I love.
Yeah, someone was saying something about it being like the old Kill Team being fast and killy. It is still fast and killy. Like, but outside of movement, things happen very fast. It's good.
Yeah, it is a fast-paced game, but it still has the depth in there. And there's a lot of other like skirmish games out there where it can feel one-sided very quickly with how characters get removed from the game or in terms of activations. And I feel that Kill Team has enough robustness to the characters to keep them around and keep you involved and
perfect example. I did a stream the other day with my friend Dustin, and he had orcs and I had Tau, and I had no idea who was going to win toward the end, especially as he got engaged with his boys. I mean, there was no telling until like the very end of the last round. He still won on objectives, but you never know. It's great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is. It's really strong. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take too much money or setup time or anything like that. So once again, we have Kill Team days. We have basically our 40K skirmish level day, which is Thursday. It's run by Ricky Kia. We are just wrapping up the first Kill Team League, and we are moving over to a new Necromunda League.
So it's 27?
Yeah, I believe. Towards the end of October. We have it all posted. I posted it up in the 40K group, the Gigabytes group, and then obviously Ricky I posted it in the Atlanta Necromunda group. So if you guys are interested, join that. That's to say that we will only be doing Necromunda during the league, but it's really nice to switch the campaigns back and forth because it allows new releases to kind of build up. And so when we do finish that Necromunda campaign and go back to a Kill Team one, the game will have significantly changed or moved around. And back over the Necromunda, the House Deloc, Ricky said, are the spy.
Oh,
the spy faction.
Right, that's really cool.
That's cool.
So they are the kind of spy masters of Necromunda. They are the covert ops.
Yeah. So when you said they have a French name, it just immediately made me think of Team Fortress 2, the spy. Yeah. Say, I never really was on your side.
Yeah, right. So it's really important to see these gangs and especially with the resculpts, like all these gangs are
they look great.
So distinct. Yeah. It was really kind of funny seeing Goliath and then Escher next to each other because they are straight opposites, right?
One's thin and live, the other's just muscly and giant.
Yeah, and then you have the Orlocks, who are these kind of like biker gang, industrial-looking guys, and then the high-tech Mansar.
Yeah, so the Orlocks control most of the mining and the mineral processing. So they're just there to kind of bruise their employees into submission and get the I guess transportation of stuff.
And I gotta tell everybody, the campaign is really where Necromunda shines. If you haven't played in the campaign, you're upgrading your characters throughout. You're adding new equipment. You're my champion ended up going to the hospital. I spent 80 credits for him to go to the hospital. Then I rolled a 1, which killed him. And then the next game, I punched my opponent's leader who took my guy out the last game. I punched his leader. He went and spent 200 credits, and he died. And he had just bought a croc as well, the Sump croc.
Oh, man. By the way, no. Some Cock's coming out, which is making me want to play Goliath.
You should.
The big hound, yeah.
So
we're talking 400 credits right down the drain in one game.
I think if I did Goliath with some Croc, I would try to mod all my Goliath guys to look like Killer Croc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they are essentially just steroid infused,
yeah,
whatever
so,
chemical. So you can get scaly. And
yeah, exactly.
whatever they get injected with.
Give them some osteoderms, like shave off the mohawks and all that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff. Shave down the nose, make them all like Voldemort-y.
Yes.
So I might do that.
Are you sure not Slytherin, John?
No, I wanted to be Slytherin, but like it's not my personality. I just like
Right.
reptiles.
But you
So
can
it's like,
choose the
out of, like-
house you're in.
Huh?
You can choose the house you're in.
No, you gotta let the Sorting Hat do it,
Ooh.
man.
They
But
don't
it
do
takes
Van
your desires into consideration.
That's true. But I can
That's
do Van
straight from the movies.
where they all have bowl haircuts.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. So Kaylee, so one of the important things with her, Kaylee made a comment on how she doesn't get to come up and play on Thursdays. That shouldn't stop you from joining the campaigns or leagues.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to play on Thursdays, especially if you're involved in campaign. You just have to schedule your games with your opponents.
So while things can be done at any time during the week, having a set day usually allows people to rally behind the day, but it's not a requirement.
Not
It
at
just
all.
gives,
Yeah.
it really gives people a day that they can set aside that they can all agree on.
Yeah.
But as long as you have Facebook, it's easy to just say, I'm looking for a game. This is my window, and see if people are interested.
And Discord.
I know
as
you
well.
have. Yeah, I know you have Facebook, Kaylee. So like you can easily join and just say, "Hey, I'm free Monday nights. Come in on a Monday night and schedule your game that way."
2 nights for Slytherin, John. That's what Jared says.
See, I told you. Fish is right. Fish is as close to a human Sorting Hat as we get.
Yep.
I'm nice, in a way.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Fish. Sort me, fish.
Yeah.
I want to see how close you are.
Mark, what house are you in?
I don't know. I'm gonna let fish decide.
Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuff. Oh, and here comes the Ravenclaw calling us nerds.
Yep.
So we're going to keep this new release going on. We're at the 11:30 mark, and we'll talk about my favorite game. So these guys technically came out last week, but we weren't here for the stream, so I just want to talk a little bit about
Monster
Monster
Apocalypse.
So we got 2 new releases for Monster Apocalypse, and by 2, I mean 2 whole factions released for Monster Apocalypse.
Awesome.
The first one being Shadow Sun Syndicate, which is a group of technology using, I don't really want to call them like secret agents, but they are a underground
shadow
organization out for their own benefit, but their benefit includes keeping Earth around.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's their people that they need to take advantage of.
Yeah,
not anyone else.
Exactly. So they are technically good guys. They're more on the anti-hero side, where they are out seeking their own goals and benefits while it happens to align with protecting the Earth and the people in it.
And they have the benefit of, as being anti-hero, they can drop the F-bomb a couple times.
Yeah.
No trouble.
At least once.
Yeah, at least once.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Now, the Shadow Sun are human beings that use nanotechnology to give themselves superpowers and grow to huge sizes, which is super cool. It's basically Ultraman-esque with a dark twist to it. So if you like that aesthetic, if you grew up watching, Ultraman or even really like Godzilla, Power Rangers, there's several other ones. I think Cyberman was the name.
I think another one.
Yeah, Chris Lyle knows. Is it Cyberman, the one where like it was like the kids diving into computers and fighting the viruses? I think that was that one. But anyways, if you're a fan of like the Japanese influenced monster movies,
and show us the box again. Beautiful. Oh heck yeah.
So it's a great theme for that. They're all about movement and manipulating their position on the map. So they're fast, they're nimble, and they can give you the 1-2 punch.
Is there like a robot mech faction?
Yeah, that's Guard. That was the original one that was released.
Right.
So Guard is going to be more of your like human UN nation style good guys.
It's really the Pacific Rim robots.
Yeah. It's Pacific Rim meets Power Rangers meets Voltron. It is a team of military guys getting into a giant robot and piloting it together.
Awesome.
So
I do enjoy the tank side of the Guard though.
Yeah. And then for the bad guys, we have
Cthulhu.
Yeah, the Lords of Cthulhu. And so, as the name probably hints to it, they are, the Lovecraft-inspired elder beings from the outside realms. coming to Earth to enslave humanities and manipulate our souls into their personal power source.
Soul manipulation.
So with that, they are a very manipulative faction. So they're about spawning things, destroying their own guys, sacrificing, summoning, moving opponents around on the board.
It's like the Slytherin faction.
Yeah. And so if you are a fan of Lovecraft inspired works, or you are a very control centric style player,
if you want to drive your opponent crazy, because that's what Lovecraft is about.
Yeah. And so, and you like tentacles or bat wings with tentacles, Lords of Cthulhu is perfect for you. We are actually really low on these. Just in case you guys haven't realized, Monster Apocalypse has been a huge hit here in the store. We had pre-ordered a tremendous amount of all the faction boxes and monsters and things like that.
And last night we had a great night with Andrew.
And Chris. And so we are selling very quickly. We have a restock coming in, so you don't have to worry too much about our stocks being depleted, but we will have all the stuff in for you, and we'll be constantly reordering it. And on that note, Andrew Overton is now the champion for Monster Apocalypse.
Giga champion!
And so that's part of our organized play program. It basically encourages one person to take the reins of organized play, running tournaments, events, and things like that. And Andrew has really kind of hit the ground running by being very active, posting photos. We're going to be talking about our Isles of Annihilation League coming up soon.
Oh, nice.
Which is more or less the Monster Apocalypse style slow grow league, where you're going to start off small with one monster and eventually move into a 2-monster game, which is incredibly fun. And for those people wondering, this is a Privateer Press game, but it does not have the same level of
complexity
as War Machine and Hordes. Now, it has an equal amount of depth to it, but it is not. You don't have to sit there and memorize every single one of your opponent's abilities.
Yeah, you don't need a
that's
tape measure.
Exactly. And so the game is much more. It's more about the foundations and then moving from there. So if you can play your faction well, you can succeed in any game. So it's something to be really conscious about, especially when you want to start a new game. This one's really easy to get into.
How many models are in an average size game?
One monster, 5.
So for a one monster game, you're going to have one monster, up to 15 units. You don't have to have 15, but you can have up to 15 units.
Okay.
Plus anywhere from 6 to I think 12 buildings.
And there's a respawn mechanic, right?
Correct. So you could technically bring in 10 units, but as they die, you get to constantly bring them back. So you don't have to worry too much about it. And the game's not super punishing if you start losing a bunch of units, right? Because you can bring them back. And then it's all based on a grid, so you can maneuver around and figure things out. The only thing, so outside of needing the models, all you need is the Monpox specific dice. Which is pretty, it comes in the starter box.
So each dice, so there's white, blue, red. The white will have the least amount of hit pips,
and that's the basic resource.
Yeah, exactly. And as you progress to blue and red, like essentially the 6 on that dice will have multiple pips. So I think the red one has up to 3.
Yeah. No, the red one only has 1 miss, and then it still only has 1 super strike.
But I mean, it has like 3 hits on that super strike.
No, it's just 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it just goes up to 2. Super strikes are always 2. But yeah, so like the dice get progressively better as the more difficult they are to earn, right? White dice you get for free. The blue dice are based on how good you are at a particular thing. So like if you're really good at punching someone or shooting someone, you'll get more of those. And then the power dice is from playing the objectives on the board.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And each faction has a different way of getting those power dice. Like Gorgadra, it will just be like, am I destroying stuff? Cool, more power dice. Defender X is, are my people defending? Cool, more power dice.
And similar to like Lord of Cthulhu's, like, am I manipulating the board?
Yep.
Fantastic. I'm going to get more. So they all have different ways of securing it. Where Shadow Sun doesn't have any special features to it, but his army is designed to fly across the board and secure all of the objectives.
Yeah.
So like he's really good at
the null zone.
Exactly. So he's really great at just securing those spots before anyone else can, which is really cool. So all these guys have distinct styles of play without actually being like really rules dense, right? Like you're not going to look at the card and like be like, oh man, this is a novel I have to read before I get to play this game. It's fairly intuitive. And Kai Hall is in the chat. We're also going to be talking about the other side pretty soon. And if Kai is available to come in, and actually he received his Kickstarter stuff for demoing purposes pretty early. But if Kai's available to come in and talk to us about it and explain how the game works and kind of show off the models, we would love to do a live stream with him.
And do a demo live stream.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see it played.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll do a kind of a sit down talk about the game, and then we'll hopefully have a demo game soon after that. So
let's make it happen. Oh yeah. Now the other side is based off of like our side of the Malifaux universe.
Correct,
right?
And it's set a couple of decades later than Malifaux is.
Okay.
So this is kind of where the world's progressing to after the portal's been open for a while and what's been going on. So
there's 4 factions. I know the one that I'm looking into is Abyssinia, which is the African faction.
Correct. Yeah,
It's,
really
Wakanda.
cool.
yeah, definitely not Wakanda.
Right.
But all the factions have with the other side, it's still in that Malifaux universe, so it still has that horror setting to it. But it's going to be more World War One era.
Yeah.
In terms of technology and clothing and factions to
But
it.
it's still steampunk.
Yeah, but very steampunky, because that's how the technology has progressed. And the Gibbering Hordes is my favorite faction because it is Jurassic Park underwater, the faction monsters. So it's a mixture of lizards, fish, sea creatures of all kinds coming through the portal, trying to invade the Earth.
Rose from the depths.
No, so I believe they were denizens from. Kai can probably better explain this.
Oh, from the other side.
Yeah,
into our oceans.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gross.
And then the cult of the Burning Man is the more or less the guys worshiping the darker powers of the breach,
Yeah.
right?
So everyone's becoming a chaos. If you follow
Yeah.
the 40k Age of Sigmar lore of it, where too many blessings. Now look at me, I'm a mutated mess.
So they're all sorts of crazy mutations, and they're like there's no like set way someone's going to mutate through the powers. And then finally, there's Great Britannia, which is going to be the King's Army, and those are going to be your kind of like allies, esque steampunk British Army for World War One. They look.
This is all coming in pre-assembled, right? Similar to the A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. So it's pre-assembled plastic, ready to go out of the box. All you have to do is hit it with primer, and you can start painting it.
Heck yes.
The game comes with movement trays as well. It's just not square movement trays; it's actually round movement trays, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
And once again, all this will be covered by Kai in the explanation to it. But it still has that. It's not quite as big as 40k, but it still has that epic army feeling.
Yeah.
Without a lot of the complications of trying to move 100 models across the board, right? So.
Yeah, I've seen more and more people, even in 40k, use the trays.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coolest thing that I saw when I was reading about it was the fact that it uses a heroic system rather than a morale system. So basically, you're getting more heroic as the action gets crazier, rather than potentially running away. So it's not based on fear; it's based on what heroism you can do, which is really cool.
Correct. Yeah, and there's basically an inspire mechanic to it, so it's really awesome.
Man, I'm gonna do a lot of Braggle Fraggle charges in that one.
So we will be getting our starter boxes in. We will talk to you guys more and more as that's getting closer. And hopefully we'll have Kai in the next week or so to talk about the game and then do a demo game with me as I get to play Fishman and he beats up on me with a giant steampunk robot.
Yes.
So it looks really cool. All the models are fantastic. It looks like Emily's into fish lizards and things like that. So Emily, if you want to take my spot playing fish lizards on the stream, you're probably a much more attractive demoer. I had a better way of saying that. Anyways, so that's all coming up, guys. I'm super excited about the other side. I've been hyped about it ever since it was unveiled. We love Malifaux here. We're excited for the third edition, but
yeah,
the other side,
what's that? What's the news on that? Do you know what's coming out?
So we know it's 2019, and I don't think they're going to get we're not going to get any sort of release date until they know that they can hit that release date, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot more companies are doing that. Where
because it makes sense. Yeah.
It's uncertain a lot of times, especially with getting stuff into the country from elsewhere.
Yeah.
If things are going to be held up at ports. Oh, that's the thing. Like I even hear it with a lot of other businesses where ports are backed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where ships have to wait days even to get their spot in the port to have everything unloaded.
Yeah.
Or they're just tied up at other spots around the world trying to load up on other things before they make their way over here. And this can actually delay things months.
Absolutely.
So it's crazy. We don't think a lot of the time, like we can order something on Amazon Prime and get it the next day, but we don't think that, this is coming from China, this is coming from, someplace that has a port on the Pacific Ocean. That's about as far away as you can get if you're not in California to us here in Georgia. And it's going to take a long time to get here.
And so once they get it, they also have to sort. And Mark, you can talk a lot about this, receiving a giant pallet of things that you need to process and separate and get ready for shipments. It's a lot of work. And I know the guys at Weird have been busting their butts getting the other side ready. Mm-hmm. And it's something, it's one of those things where they are still delivering a product to you, but you got to realize that these game companies are probably a lot smaller than you think they are, right? They put out such a professional and polished package that you don't realize that this is done by like a small team of like 20 people, right? And they're putting out a service for an entire world, thousands of people across the world.
So what's the comparison? Like a lot of these companies that you look at compared to Games Workshop, like a department in Games Workshop is the size of the entire company.
Yeah, if you think about it, the guys at Protos Games, Privateer Press, Weird, outside of Fantasy Flight and Games Workshop, the actual companies themselves is just a team of really dedicated individuals. So really important to remember that, especially when you're getting antsy for your product.
Mm-hmm.
Modifius and the Wasteland Warfare, like that was way bigger, I think, than what they maybe anticipated.
Exactly.
Like that was there's a lot of folks all around the world who wanted that.
Yeah.
And then they got their stuff held up in ports as well on the East Coast, I think.
And we have the Japanese Army for Dust coming in soon as well.
Yeah. Japanese Army is coming in for Dust soon, which is very exciting. And also that means new releases for other factions as well.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna have Greg and Alicia here at the studios, right where I am right now, and we're gonna go over it. I think we're gonna have new models to show off.
Yeah, so the Japanese Army should be out, barring any complications, during PAX Unplugged here at Gigabyte. So we will be releasing alongside the con release. Well, so if you guys are interested,
amazing.
Yeah,
there's the ninjas.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you like ninjas or kind of diesel punk Japanese robots,
definitely more diesel punk.
Yeah,
if you like being able to shoot anyone you can see on the board, you go with him. Unlimited range on the railguns.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a railgun, right? So yeah, we're getting into that really exciting part of the year where these game companies are putting out their best in order to attract people into their game or give people new holiday gifts for their friends and family. Mm-hmm. So, and remember, Pterosaurs for John, pointing at Emily directly. So all the stuff is on the way. We're going to be expecting a lot more information from all these companies as time goes on, whether it's more orcs, demons of Slaanesh and Khorne, new dust armies, the other side, more information about Malifaux Mark III, or 3rd edition is a better way of saying it. They have been doing a good job about doing weekly articles, kind of talking about the new stuff, how the game is progressing. They just reopened applications for beta testing for Malifaux 3rd edition. Right. So if you guys are interested in kind of seeing a sneak peek of how the game's forming up, and you want to be a part of making that game better, please apply to the beta test. You don't know how beneficial that is to a company, getting as many voices heard in terms of balance and design. So, yeah.
It's great.
It is definitely an exciting time, and we are going to have so much more information and content in terms of these games coming up. We should be getting also our first Monster Apocalypse live stream coming up
Yay.
within the week or so. Hopefully next Thursday. Me and Andrew will maybe throw down.
Also, I do have a request for other side streaming. When the first player announces what they're playing, the other says, and me on the other side, and I'm playing.
That's the name.
Yeah, oh my god.
That's like in movies when they say the title of the movie in the movie.
And Kashan Lee asks if we are hiring. We are always accepting resumes and applications through our online portal. John?
GigabytesCafe.com/ apply, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I'll put that in the comments real quick, actually.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I know we have a lot of people asking about that, especially during holiday seasons. Things can get busy for us, especially at the warehouse. They run out a lot of stuff.
There we go. I'll put it in. So
Thank
you
you,
can
John.
click on that link and go to it.
Absolutely.
Oh, we can't forget about GigaSwag.
No, we can't.
Oh yeah, we got the.
So coming up soon, guys, we'll be hosting a lot more apparel here in the store, especially winter apparel. So expect beanies, hoodies, sweaters, t-shirts, all coming in. Now, if you want your own custom apparel from Gigabytes, go to giga-swag.com. That is hosted by Big Frog of East Cobb. They do all of our custom printing t-shirts and things like that. So you can get all sorts of things to your exact specifications, plus more. I know recently we have done some custom work where people have gotten their names printed on the back of our t-shirts,
that's cool.
all that sort of stuff. So it's really great. It supports us, and we love to see everyone out there in our merch and all that sort of good stuff. We might have a promotion for GigaSwag coming up soon, especially with the new shirts. So how much? Oh, for Mark to take his shirt off? You are asking about the wrong person, because I will take my shirt off for $20. Mark might be a little bit more reserved than me.
Yeah, just had.
Yeah, but I love money, and I also love like scaring people Scooby-Doo-esque style.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So
$10.
Very active chat today. This is great.
Adding $10 to this? Oh, 10%.
yeah, no, $10.
Okay.
So
No, it's just.
definitely, guys, check out our GigaSwag. We will be hosting it more, and we should have some updates coming up pretty soon. We will be getting some new proofs and things like that of our new sweater design. And the really cool thing about this is that it will be able to be on black shirts and hoodies and things like that. So I know a lot of people have requested that. And this new design, done by Emily Sampson herself, is making that possible. And we will have so much more swag for you guys coming in the near future. So, yeah. $20 if you get John too. Oh, John Caspian. John Caspian, Kurt's offering $20 if you take off your shirt.
$20 to me and $20 to you for 40 total, or
I don't know, maybe.
we could do like a 60-40 split.
I feel like he's gonna like thrive off this confusion.
Yeah.
2 people with no shirt, and then I'll get $20.
All right, guys. Well, we have people lining up at the door, so we're going to have to get going. But thank you very much for coming in, tuning to us, being active in the chat. It makes these streams 100% better.
Yeah.
So thank you for your participation.
All right.
And until next time.
Yep. Hope you
Bye,
guys have a great.
everybody.
Yeah, come to the store, pick up your Kill Team Commanders and more Monpok.
Yeah.
Buy more
Yes.
Monpok.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye now.
Bye.
Goodbye.